Hello, welcome back to the Created Worthy podcast. Today I am joined by my co host, Sherita Harkness. Last episode, we talked about processing relationships, and Sherita gave some incredible parallels to healthy relationship looked like within the Bible and gave some really amazing examples and stories and references to go back and study. So that has been so helpful for me, and I hope it has been for you. Today, we are talking about procrastination and perfectionism, two habits that keep us stuck, and also two habits that often work hand in hand, caused by one or the other. Just to start off, Sharita, do you ever feel like you're waiting for the perfect moment to take action or struggle to finish something because it has to be just right?
All the time, every day,
Yeah, I feel you. Same.
every day, every single day.
So, can you share a personal experience about how procrastination or perfectionism or both has shown up in your life in the last week?
Oh, the last week. Why you gotta be in my business?
Sorry,
The last
it's my
week,
job.
you're not sorry.
You're right.
Yeah, I would say oh gosh, it's like literally in everything. I have a whiteboard in my room that I have tried to be very vigilant about writing down, like, hey, this week you need to accomplish these things. And it's mostly because I'll walk in and be like, I don't have anything to do, or what do I do today? I have plenty to do. You need money. Get on, you know what I mean? Get on it. And so the way that I've prioritized the things I need to get done, I prioritize it based on what's gonna make you money right now. Do that first. I'm for real. That is the
I know
motivation.
you are. It's so
And
funny.
then the second one tier is what's gonna make you money possibly tomorrow, but definitely in the next month. And then I'll do that. And then what's going to make you money after that. And then I'll go from there, which sounds really ridiculous. But as a business owner, I think the things that make me money right now, they're generally like send an invoice, follow
Yeah.
up with a client,
Which,
send
why are
an
those the
email.
hardest tasks? Because that's exactly what I was going to share as well, is that I struggle so much, like as far as procrastination in the last week. It's like I have so many tasks that I need to do. I need to design for this person. I need to create this for this person. I need to write this for this person. But the actual task that I need to do to bring in income is send the dang proposals.
That's it. Just send the proposal, follow up with a client, take a get. Like it's simple stuff. It's just
Yes.
a matter of not wanting to do it. And I think some of it is just it's admin work, so it's difficult. And then I think some of it is possible overwhelm because it's like just it's something that's tiny. It's not fun, right? It's not the like big idea stuff. It's not the create this or design this or
Yeah.
think about this. But then the irony is when you get past the little stuff and then you do have space to like actually do the big stuff, then that becomes, oh, I need more time to research. I'll stay on Pinterest and researching for days. You hear me? And then
Yes.
come the day before, all of a sudden have to do it. But I also think sometimes you just, for whatever reason, it's like pressure when it's applied, it gets done, but it's just causing so much stress. So I have tried, and it does work. My little whiteboard, it works. Once I look up there, I'll look back and be like, oh, I did that. But it's just a matter of I got to see it. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, write the vision and make it plain so
Yes.
that then you can do it. So when I write things down and I can see them, then they actually end up happening, whether I intend to do it or not. It gets done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me, especially when it comes to proposals specifically, is the perfectionism side of me. So let's just break down what procrastination is and what perfectionism is. Procrastination is the art of I'll do it later, often tied to a fear of failure, overwhelm, as you mentioned, or a lack of motivation, also ADHD. Perfectionism is the relentless pursuit of flawlessness, making it impossible to feel done or satisfied. And both of those together are Man, it's just that the reason I put them together is because I feel like oftentimes my procrastination is because I need to make things perfect in my mind. So, like for my
Right.
proposals, because I own a creative company, I'm like, my proposals need to be
Have to
beautiful. They
look
need
perfect.
to be 7 pages. The first page has to be perfectly crafted. It has to speak to the client who's receiving it, and it has to be on brand. Sometimes I have to make them on brand for the client. So I'll put it in the client's branding.
Right.
And it's Danielle. Most of the time, these clients, they want to know what you're asking them.
That's it. And
They
they
want
want
to
to know
know
how
how
much it's
much
gonna
you're
cost.
telling them they need to pay
Right.
you for a specific service.
And then if real talk, this is where I used to get mad at myself and I would want to slap somebody. Not me, somebody else. Like they would be like, "Oh, I'll look at someone else that gave them a quote from the past, right? So like, I paid this person X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, and they'll show me the proposal or they'll show me like whatever they got sent over. It looks like Boo the Fool put it together and handed it off, and they went with that person and paid them way more money
Yeah.
than they were ever going to pay me.
Yeah.
So I remind myself, look, I look at it and I'm like, if the average Joe could put this in a regular format and it's not in PowerPoint, it's in like publisher, word publisher from like 1995 and no good images. If they can do that and these people are willing to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars, and I know that I'm giving them a value worth thousands of dollars, then I can do the same thing and spend less time causing myself anxiety and frustration and overwhelm for something that this other person isn't even going to look at for 30 seconds. They literally just want to know how much is it going to cost? What is the timeline and what you're going to do for me? And what do I have to do to get you to do this for me? That's it. That's
That's
it.
right. Yeah. And what this procrastination or perfectionism, what it ends up costing us a lot of times is our sanity, right?
Mm,
How many times do you find yourself just like in a ball of stress or anxiety because there's this, that, and the other that you know you should have done, but you
mhm.
didn't do? Sometimes it means missed opportunities. A lot of
I'm going
times,
to say the
actually,
client.
yeah, on the business end, like if you're a business owner out there and you are spending, and trust me here, I'm preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to myself. If you're spending 6 hours on making a proposal,
Mm,
that is costing you the ability to go and promote and connect
yep,
with other
yep.
people who may be even more aligned clients and
Hmm.
therefore can actually help you grow your business. You're missing out on leads. And then a huge one for me is like a loss of confidence. Like, I'm like, if I send out the proposal, I've done this before, especially after the car accidents. I
Mm,
would spend forever and ever on these proposals, but I didn't actually prioritize what the client said they wanted.
mm,
And so then they come back and they're like, this is beautiful, but this isn't what I asked for. And
mm.
I'm like, oh, yeah. And then that totally knocks my confidence because I'm like, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. The enemy just gets in there and you start to believe all these lies. And if I had just done the assignment that God had called me to do in the very first place, I would have saved myself lots of time and
Right.
I wouldn't feel like a failure.
Not only that, I would have money.
That too. Yes.
You forget all of those things are tied to money, and
Yes.
money costs things. So you are paying in your time and your space, something that you can never get back. So stop wasting your time and space and energy and make the money you need to make so that you get back your time and energy. That's the whole point of being a darn entrepreneur in the first place.
That is so true. Are you a Christian woman in business or ministry? If so, this is your invitation to rise. Join us this November 12th and 13th in Waco, Texas for the Rise Leadership Experience, the first annual transformational event hosted by Heart Soul Strength, a ministry dedicated to equipping female leaders and bridging the gap between business and ministry. This powerful 2-day event will provide you with biblically based leadership development concepts, practical business strategies, and so much more. The event will be held at Deerfield Estates, a quiet and beautiful family owned venue nestled only 10 minutes away from downtown Waco. You'll hear from incredible keynote speakers like Ruth Cho Simons, Rachel Grohl, Sherita Harkness, and other talented women who have walked the path and are ready to serve you, the leaders who are often found serving others. We will be fostering deep connections through breakout sessions that will help you to tangibly combine what you do with your kingdom purpose. You'll also experience soul restoring worship led by Roman Collins and his soon to be wife, Felicia Hill, with their music director, Wayne Matthews. Y'all, look these people up if you don't know who they are already. The anointing on their lives is likely unlike anything you've experienced before. And if you're ready for even more, we've got 2 optional bonus days filled with leadership, hot seats, community building, and even a trip to Magnolia. Yes, that Magnolia. So, are you ready to rise into the leader that God has created you to be? Are you ready to encounter God in a safe environment alongside other leaders who are being called to make a kingdom impact? Learn more and grab your spot now at heartsoulstrength.org/rise. Don't wait. This is your time to rise. So let's jump into what's helped us to process procrastination. The first step is that we have to identify where we're waiting. Where are you waiting for the perfect moment to take actions? Or what tasks or dreams are you delaying because you don't, quote unquote, feel ready? Identifying, like for you, you did it right at the beginning. It's, you know, that in your business, in your life, to pay your bills, you need to prioritize making money, right?
Yep. Yep.
But let's take it a step back from there. Where do you feel like you're waiting in order to move forward in the tasks that you need to do to make money? Like, what are you waiting for?
Mm. I think sometimes, like you said earlier, sometimes it is procrastination, just like waiting to have the best expertise, waiting to have
Mm,
old Sherita. I don't do this much anymore, but old Sherita was like, "Oh, I don't have inspiration." I'm like, "Girl, you better find some inspiration. You better go pick it up. You better go look for it." You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have time to be inspired. You out here looking for waterfalls, and I need to go on a walk. I actually found a journal that I had when I was younger that said something about, "Oh, I wish I could write and live overseas, and I would write every day, and I would, because I would have the inspiration. I have lived in Dubai, I have lived in Chicago, I have lived in Atlanta. Ask me, have I written that little tacky behind story that I said I was going to write in that journal? Never. It's not about inspiration, it's about just doing it. And so, yeah, I would say inspiration or waiting for the right moment where I feel like I'm all collected, or waiting till I feel good enough.
yeah.
Waiting till I feel like I have all the answers. I think that comes from achievement. I
Yeah.
was a gifted kid in the 90s. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Hello to the rest of you out there who are still recovering. But I think that achievement, and I'm the oldest. And so achievement
Mm,
is really hard because you feel like you have to have it all together. And really, I've learned things come together as you are starting to move. If you just move in the direction, all the pieces that you're looking for, they will fall into place, and no one knows. We used to say in production, when I did a lot of work in production, nobody knows on the outside what's happening in the dumpster fires that are happening behind the scenes. All they're seeing is the lights moving and the sound happening. Like, just keep it moving. So, yeah, just that's what I would say.
for sure. And I think you touched on something briefly that is so important too. Oftentimes, what we are waiting on is to be enough, right?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
going back to being created worthy, I think you have to remember that God isn't going to call you into something that you're not equipped for. And so even if you in your mind have all of these excuses that are like, I don't have enough education, or I have to go back and get my master's degree, or I never actually went to college, or blah, 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 blah. Oftentimes, those are actually distractions, lies from the enemy. And if God is calling you to do something, then do the thing,
Can
right?
I push back just a bit?
Yeah,
um,
let's hear it.
Theologically, God will call you if you are not equipped, because
Okay.
as a matter of fact, He will call you because you are not equipped.
Ooh.
And the goal is that He is able to equip you. I think it's
Yes.
really easy
Yes.
to think, oh, I don't have all, but if you go back and you look in the Word, every single person that accomplishes something great, they always are ill-equipped. They do
Mm,
not always have what they want, or what the culture of that time would have said you need this to succeed. And that is so that he may. That you see that in, I think it's in Thessalonians, so that he may work this thing in you, so that he may give you X, Y, and Z. So you are not equipped to do any of the work. And that's where Paul says, when I'm weak, then you're strong. In my weakness, I see your strength.
Mm.
So I don't think that you need to be equipped. And I think that's generally the reason why we procrastinate. We're
Yeah.
looking to equip ourselves and we are standing in strongholds and not even realizing it. That if we just would allow ourselves to walk in our, what I call the limp, walk in our inadequacy, that if you are a follower of Christ, then you'll see Holy Spirit show up in ways, again, Ephesians 3:20, that you can never ask, think, or imagine, because it's not up to you. You're not leaning on your own strength. You're actually having to lean into him.
I'm so glad that you pushed back on that because you're so right. That is 100% truth. Like the reason you're equipped is only because of God,
Mhm.
right? It's not because you have a master's degree or a PhD or this, that, and the other certification. Now, if God calls you to do some of those, there's nothing wrong with that. But
Mm,
then you have to watch out to not procrastinate those things. You have to make sure that if that's the assignment He's given you, then you have to take steps in that assignment. And so, step one is identifying where you're waiting. But step
yeah.
two is meeting the human need for progress instead
Yeah.
of perfection.
Yeah, that's good.
We often procrastinate because we don't know the exact path forward. Spoiler alert.
Control.
Yeah, you have control issues. So do I. I think it's a human thing that we constantly have to go back to God, go back to the word, release and surrender our control because the truth is, we really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. But if we look, what's the verse in Proverbs that talks about
The
him?
steps of a man are ordered by the Lord.
Yes, exactly. So if we can trust in that God has us, that the Lord is working in our lives and through our lives, then we can trust that He's going to put the next right step in our path, and we just have to be obedient to that.
Hmm.
Now, being obedient is not super easy. I'm going to bring up a recent example actually from last week. Was it last week? Was it this weekend? I don't know when it was exactly, but Sherita'd me, and I was like, I need to get this, that, and the other done for my business. I need to do this, that, and the other. But also look at this pile of laundry on my couch. My husband did all of the laundry. He just left the stuff that I needed to put away. But I can't do that right now. Sharita's like, oh, yes, you can. Oh, yeah, you can. You can put that stuff away. That's also part of being an honorable wife, right? Honoring your husband. And that's something that will help your family. And I'm like, but it's so not as important as like doing the thing that will make money or fulfilling the contracts that have already made us money. Like in my mind, I'm just like, no, I have to work first. Home stuff is whatever. It'll get dealt
Hmm.
with eventually. One day I'll be able to hire a house cleaner.
Mm. They do
And
change your life. They do change your life.
I know, and I'm so looking forward to that day, but for now, that's not where I'm at. And
The thing, it wasn't just about honoring. I think people forget, and this isn't whether you're single or married, when you are, especially if you're a business owner, the things in your home do affect the way that you work. And
right,
so if your home, at least in my opinion, and what I've learned in my own life and in my own story, when my house is a wreck, when things are out of place, then so that is representative of what's happening on the inside of me. And so when I take time out to say, you know what, okay, I need to organize this, even if it's just blocking off an hour or 2 hours to clean or put something away, that alone, A, gives my brain a break from thinking through this hard thing I've been sitting at my computer trying to like, manage for the last 2 hours. But also, it's being a good steward over my time
right.
and stewarding even the things that are hard. Like it's making me do a hard thing. So that's telling my body, again, affirming, you can do this because you can do hard things and you can do this thing. And now I have clarity and now I have space to come back and sit at my computer and run. So honoring your home is just as important as honoring the commitment to your clients because you are your first client. If
That
you
is
don't
so
believe
true.
in what you do, how can other people do the same thing?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I can honestly say this weekend is a testimony to that because you threatened me in love. Just kidding. It was in
It
love,
was
but
in love. Don't make these people think I'm out here just threatening people. It was
No,
in.
no. And it wasn't even a threat, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
So you challenged me to do that. And you sat on the phone with me while I put the clothes away. And then what that ended up leading to was, oh, actually, my husband's been telling me to unpack my luggage from the trip I went on 3 weeks ago. So I need to do that. So I
Mhm.
unpacked the luggage. And
Mhm.
then I was like, okay, I just need to clean up this one little area of the kitchen. And it was just another little step, but I pulled down the tea basket on top of our fridge and realized that there was tea in there. There was all kinds of stuff in there that had expired in like 2019. And I went through that whole basket. And then that led me to cleaning the fridge, which also had things that were expired in there from like 2021, 2022, which is disgusting. I know. But the next day, I woke up and was so much more focused. I got
Yeah.
more done in the last 3 days than I've gotten done in months. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
And I know that it's because I prioritized that. And like you helped me to remember to just take the small step that you know is right in front of you that you've been procrastinating and do it because that's being a good steward because
Mhm.
God will honor that.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
always about just doing the thing that's going to make you the most money,
Right.
although for you and your life and where you're at, like that's what you're doing. Also, you're an incredible steward of your house. I have not learned housekeeping skills, so I'm learning
Well, and
them
it
now.
takes time, but like also, like I said, I was joking, but I wasn't joking about the money situation. But like some of the things that make me money first are tied to my home. So like
Yeah.
I can't sit down and write an invoice and I know there are dishes downstairs because my brain will just be like, you got to get those dishes. You got, and it's going scatterbrain like everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. Let Holy Spirit just help me focus. I'll do this one or two things and then I need to go clean or I
Right.
need to go organize. And once I do that, then like you said, it clears up space to focus and then I
Yeah.
can come back and get done what I need to get done. So it's the circle of life and
For
you
sure.
just have to not Akuna Matata everything.
Yes. And you got to start with the small tasks, right? You have to be able to break whatever the things are in your life down to small tasks and then build momentum from there. That is one way to meet the need for progress instead of perfection. There's also this incredible app that I'm going to let Sherita talk a little bit about that really helps to move the needle forward and keep you accountable.
Yeah, it does what you just said, right? It builds momentum with little tiny micro steps. So there's this app called Groove. And again, how things connect from your personal life to your business. I found it at the end of the summer last year when I lost my best friend, my grandmother, and my godfather within a week of each other. And their funerals were within also 3 days of each other. And so I came back to Chicago and I was like, I need help. I don't have the money to go to therapy right now. I've done it before, but I can't go. And I don't have the ability to be in community because I didn't know a lot of people here still. And so I was just like, what do I do? And this app had come across my feed a couple times through another groover named LaShonda Brown. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to try this. And all Groove is, honestly, is like a Pomodoro met a to-do list Asana type situation, met Trello, and they all had a baby and
A
met
very
like
simple baby.
very simple baby. And somehow along that it created community. And so I found a community of people not only who are like me trying to get things done, but who are also business owners and consultants or just moms that work from home, stay at home and take care of their homes and all these different people, men, women, everybody. And all of us are there trying to get work done. And it breaks it down. You have a little Pomodoro timer at the top and you meet with four people. It's four of you in a group. You have 50 minutes together. And in that 50 minutes, you are supposed to accomplish a goal. And so you just say, hey, this groove, I want to wash the dishes and clean the downstairs of my house. And then everybody lists their goal. You go into your own private time. You can see your timer for 50 minutes. It starts and you have a to-do list that you set and then you mark them off. I completed more work using Groove last year than I think I ever did in the last 3 years of trying to start a business after I lost my job.
Yeah.
And it has changed, radically changed the way that I work. even showing up in a space and being honest with people to say, I'm having a hard day today. My brain is everywhere. I don't even know where to start, but I need to do something. And just by making the consistent effort to get up, get on groove, that has radically changed everything in my story. And I have written a book, published a book, built a publishing company, started new workshops, and redesigned my entire system for my business of play in business simply because of being on groove. I think we're going to have the referral link in the show notes, but if you're someone who has felt you feel isolated, you work from home, you work remotely, you just need clarity on being and the ability to take action in next steps. Groove is the perfect space for you to just not only feel safe in doing that, but have a community of people who are doing the same thing that will push you lovingly to say, get it done. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And you will become your own cheerleader, which I
And
never thought would happen.
so funny, Groove is actually how, in a roundabout way, I met Sherita because
Totally.
Sherita was grooving with Holly. And Holly, if you didn't hear her story, you need to go listen to it. She was the
Amazing.
last episode of season 5.
Yeah.
She met Sherita and then she immediately called me and she's, I met this lady on Groove and you need to meet her. I was like, okay. And so we met. And Groove has been super, super helpful for me too, because there are things, simple things like drinking water or taking a shower. Just quite honestly, don't get on my to-do list. And that's been really helpful for me to be like, okay, in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to wash my face. I'm going to do a whole routine. And it doesn't matter that it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to do this because this is caring for my body. And this is what I need to be able to then care for my business and care for my family. And so, even just being able to use Groove for things like that, it's been a game changer for me as well. And you guys, it's only $8 a month. And it is the most incredible tool out there, especially if you've struggled with just getting the small tasks, the micro tasks done. And then also another thing that's been really helpful for me with Groove is like hearing what other people's goals are. Sometimes their goals are like, I need to eat breakfast and do my
Say
morning
that one again
routine.
for the people in the back.
Sometimes I need to eat breakfast and do my morning routine. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. I also need to do that. And so then my
Mm-hmm.
goal will change, but it's in a healthy way. So good. Another thing that I have found really helpful is a paper planner. I do much better when I actually pen to paper write notes down. So it took me 6 years of researching planners, trying out a bunch of different kinds. And for the last 5 years, I've been using a planner called My Goals. It's from a company out of Australia. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. But how it's broken down is almost like a life coach. Like in the beginning, it really helps you to break or set big goals. There's long term goals, there's short term goals, and then you break them down into tasks. And I needed that structure. And then on the weekly basis, there's like your overall to do list. And then there's on the other side a place to put all of your meetings and notes in for the week. What I love about it is that there's structure, but there's still room for flow. And there is a habit tracker every week as well. But every month, there's like a recap of are you making progress on your long term goals? It's just a really awesome thing. And then one of my favorite parts is that they just have journal pages in the back. So instead of me having a journal and a planner and this and that, it's really a place for me to just put everything in one spot. If I need to, if I'm taking notes at church, I can take notes in my planner. If I have a client call and I need to take quick notes instead of writing it down on a sticky note, I can just put it in my planner and then it's all in one spot. And a kind of alongside of that is Asana. So there's lots and lots of project management systems. Sharita has mentioned Trello as well. It's very similar to Trello. Asana, I just have found, has the most integrations for other systems. So it's helpful with streamlining in the future. But that's how we run my team. And that's how we run the nonprofit is a project management system where we can just land all of the tasks. We can assign deadlines. We can delegate to whoever the team member is. We can all keep track of where progress is being made. And so that's been really helpful. But I know that Sharita uses a different project management system. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit about that.
So I use Notion, and I like it a lot. It took me a minute to learn it, mostly because I was trying to figure out like how to manage it. It's like a big white space, but I like I mentioned earlier, I have a whiteboard. It helps me to be able to figure out how I need to work. And so I've used it. I also love that it's super visual. I have the free version. I'm not a paid follower yet. I will be one day, I'm sure, but I love it. I love being able to manage just my documents the way I want, from creating a to-do list to being able to link content to creating wikis. So Notion is a way that I use and utilize all of the tools that they have to be able to and apply the things I'm actually doing a to-do list in Groove. So it keeps me focused. Even recently this week or a couple weeks ago, I started doing a mini cast series, and I've never actually done a podcast on my own. And so I was like, I need something that can just help me keep all these things structured and focused in one place. And I've been using Notion for that. I set it up the way that I felt was, easy for me, successful for me to be able to go back and reference everything or find different things or link things, and it's all there like a little book. And on top of that, because I love images, I have all the pictures and all the icons and all the things.
Yeah.
So it's something that has feels like a digital like notebook that I can create and curate to be exactly what I need it to be.
Yes, Notion is great for that. It's super customizable. Like you can really truly make it look however you want it to look. There's also tons and tons of templates online that you can buy, or a lot of them are free too. So I know a lot of creatives use Notion, and I did for a moment, but then I needed just some more integration. So that's why I ended up with Asana. But Notion is an incredible platform as well. And then just to wrap up this step two, meeting the human need for progress instead of perfection, find accountability. So if you get on Groove, done, check it off. You've got accountability. If you don't use Groove, then you need some power partners, or you need some people in your life who are actually going to help keep you accountable and are going to Sherita you. And they're going to say, hey, if you don't do this, then we're going to have problems.
Not sure you.
So you need that. And then also, number seven, reward yourself. Celebrate the accomplishments that you have made. There is like a little boost of dopamine that you get when you check off a task in Asana. A little rainbow unicorn flies up. Love that.
In
Um,
Groove, you get fire emojis. It makes you
fire
so happy,
emojis.
and it's a
Yes,
cross.
it's so good. And then another thing that a friend of mine had shared was like, I struggle with timeliness. So I have been really bad about getting my daughter to school on time. And that
Mhm.
is not healthy. I don't want that to be something that she struggles with. And so I had talked to a friend, and she was like, I think you need to build in some positive reinforcement for yourself if you get your kid to school on time, which I know sounds ridiculous. But mind you guys, I didn't learn a lot of basic things when I was in my childhood. So now I'm rebuilding those neural pathways as a almost 30-year-old. And so now if I get Ella to school on time, I get to make myself a latte at home, which is very nice.
Very
So
nice.
those are some ways to just prioritize progress over perfection. Step three, reframing perfectionism as progress. So, perfectionism keeps us stuck in paralysis because we think if we can't do it perfectly, then we're not going to do it at all. How many of us have said that, even subconsciously? I know I have. Endless
Mhm.
tweaking. Oh my goodness. When I was writing creative processing workshops last year, the amount of times that I tweaked the actual workshops was insane. It was insane. And then I always would show up in a spastic energy because I had been tweaking it right up until the very end. Whereas if I had just taken even 5 minutes before and just been in prayer and said what I say now before I do anything, Lord, take away my words and fill me with yours. Honestly, the workshops would
Mhm.
have been better. I would have felt better. I would have known that the work is done. So watch out for that. And then the third reason it keeps us stuck is because of fear of judgment, right? Avoiding action because of what others might think.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this is easier said than done, but truly, it doesn't matter what they think. If God told you to do it, then just do it
Which that's easier said than done.
for
Like
sure.
that's something that I have struggled with even creating content. People always will tell me, "Oh, you're good at this or you're good at that or why don't you have a YouTube channel or why don't you have this channel?" It's like, one, that stuff is work. And then two, the bigger thing is the people who I'm sharing this information with that are saying you should have or you should be, they already know me and trust me. They know my voice. They know my heart. They've seen my work. And so I think it's difficult when you recognize, yeah, I could do these things. And on some level, you actually want to do them. But it's hard because you're nervous about what are people going to say. What I will say has been helpful in coming out of that and daring to take a risk is the fact that, like what you said earlier, I had a partner. When you said, hey, I would love for you to help me co-host for a few episodes, all of a sudden it was like, I've already said no to this. And God was like, no, I'm sending you someone. Get your life together and stop acting like you lost your mind. So it was easier to say yes to you. And then once we did a few episodes, I was like, oh, I can do this. And I can have a voice and I can do X, Y, and Z. And again, that accountability, but not for the accountability's sake, but accountability for my heart to feel safe, right? Okay, here's someone who's doing this and they're doing well. And if they can do well and their heart, you can do the same thing. I think it's much easier said than done. But if you are someone who's feeling overwhelmed by wanting to step out of what feels like safety and norm, and you want to step into something different, trust the nudge that it's probably not just you, especially if people are telling you or you feel seen in your circles. Trust that it's actually maybe possibly Holy Spirit. It's God saying, hey, I really want this for you. This is how you're going to be my mouthpiece. And once you think about it like that, then switch gears and say, hey, okay, I'm going to steward this gift well. And creating a podcast or writing a book or doing these things that seem very vulnerable and open for scrutiny is actually me investing in the gift and the talent and using it wisely to invest in others and in the kingdom, people who need it, who need to hear what God can only say through me because of my experiences and my knowledge and my understanding of the
Yeah.
world.
And your
Um,
testimony.
yeah, and that's it. So
Yeah.
that's
So
a good
good.
call out.
We're going to move into the final part of this episode, and we are going to set up the stage for your actionable creative processing challenge. Just as a reminder, creative processing is activating your creative mind to process a certain intention. It allows us to explore our subconscious thoughts, emotions, and create clarity through utilizing our God given creativity that He has put within every single one of us, which is part of why I know for a fact we are created worthy, is because He is a creator and He has created us to be creative. So, before engaging in this exercise, I want to encourage you to take out a pen and paper to write down this prompt. The purpose of my writing or creating in whatever method is to process my procrastination and perfectionism and reframe my perspective so I can take meaningful action. You could also just say, is to process procrastination or perfectionism. So, what I want to challenge you to do is identify where are you waiting? Identify the areas in your life where you are waiting for the perfect moment to take action in your career, your health, relationships, and creativity itself. And ask yourself, what small step can I take today? The second part of this is list small steps forward. Take one of those areas and break it down into the smallest possible action steps that you can take. Remember, done beats perfect. Prioritize the assignment. And three, how can you embrace imperfection and focus on progress rather than perfection? So, if you want to take some time to think about, process, write about a time when imperfection led to something unexpectedly great. So, that messy action, I want you to think about a time where you took messy action and it ended up turning out way better than you expected because you prioritized obedience. So that is the challenge for today. Sharita, tell us about your mini cast before we close
We
up today.
are going strong over here. I thought it's a just a small mini cast to talk to business leaders, business owners, anyone that is in a leadership position at their company to just help you understand how play can really change the way that you do business and the way that your business impacts the world. So they're 3 minutes long. I've gotten a lot of great feedback. And again, all because the wonderful Danielle Damrell decided to invite me to co-host with her. So it's my way of processing play.
Yes. And she is killing it over there. You guys got to go follow her on LinkedIn, connect with her, share these mini casts with business owners and corporation executives that because we need some more play in these workplaces, y'all.
Yes, we do.
We really do. All right, you guys, please take some time to do the creative processing challenge. We will have all the information in the show notes. Procrastination and perfectionism will lose their power when we decide to take action. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about processing uncertainty, which is a huge thing in all of our lives. We're going to learn how to find peace in the unknown in those waiting seasons. And if you do end up doing any of the creative processing challenge, please feel free to share your reflections with us on social media on Instagram. You can tag Created Worthy Podcast, or you can just send us a DM. We're always here to encourage you. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in. You are
Created worthy.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to the Created Worthy Podcast. I hope that today's show resonated with you. And if it did, can you do me a huge favor and go leave a 5-star review? This helps more listeners find the show and it expands the reach of the stories and concepts that are shared here. All the links and guest information are in the show notes. And if you're on social media, come hang out with me. You can find the Created Worthy Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook. Or come follow along with my personal IG page, where I just share more about the real, sometimes messy life of your fellow worthy warrior. Can't wait to talk to you soon, friend. And don't forget, we are all created worthy. How come you don't ever have to do any vocal warm-ups? Vulnerable.
I don't know.
That's a hard
Is that what
word
we're
for me.
talking about? Vulnerable?
No. We're talking about comparison, but that's a word that I always stumble on. So if I practice it, it helps me with my pronunciation.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
You're putting too much emphasis on the
I know, that's what helps my mouth. Vulnerable. 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 Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. See, now I'm better. It fixed me. All right. Hello. Welcome back to the Created. Whoops.
I'm scared to listen to the bloopers because I don't know what you did. I don't even know if I want to know what you did.
That's fine.
I've just been sharing.
Just know that nothing is like so inappropriate. It's mostly just me being me and you being you.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Sally can do this. You can do it too. The average, can I say that again? Because you don't need to post Sally.
Cut that out. I never know how to stop this.